Microsoft is out with a new Elite Series 2 core controller. Coming in white is a more affordable option for this Pro or Premium Xbox controller, but it loses most of the accessories like paddles and swappable thumbsticks. Those now come in an optional additional package. And after reading over the release and seeing the line refined components that are meant to last, I decided to pick one up and see how it performs. Because if you've researched the Elite Series 2 or tried one out, you know that it's been a mixed bag with some people having a lot of quality issues, but some people not having any issues at all. And so far, for better or for worse, it seems to be more of the same thing. Hey everyone, I'm Jordan with 9 to 5 Toys, and I've been a longtime fan of the Elite series from Microsoft and Xbox. I still have one of the originals that's been my workhorse for a very long time. But every time I post a controller review for Xbox, there are always a bunch of comments that talk about how many controllers, they've had to return in hopes of getting one that's more reliable. So when Microsoft announced the Elite Series 2 core and claimed that it had new refined components that are built to last, I knew I had to pick one up. Is it still plagued with the face button issues or bumper woes that so many reviews have mentioned? And we did unbox both the controller and the accessory pack live on stream. We do those at 3:30 Eastern on Fridays, so jump in and join us for the next one. At $130 for the controller itself and $60 for the accessory pack, my grand total came to $203 with tax. Now that is more expensive than the older Elite Series 2, which is the non-core, which comes with all those same accessories for $180, but can often be found for less on sale. So Microsoft will still be carrying the Elite Series 2, the black version that comes with all the accessories, and the new Series 2 core, which does not come with the accessories. So as far as I can tell, the only design difference is that the Elite Series 2 comes in a white colorway. And even though my Xbox Series X is black, the white controller looks sharp. In time, it might show some more grime, but that's not really something I'm too worried about. I'll let my kids play with the stock controller with their grimy hands. The plastic is a soft white matte that has a pretty smooth finish and feels nice to me. Otherwise, the Elite 2 core has all the same design features as the Elite 2. You can catch my review of that controller up here. Rubberized wraparound grips, the 3-way adjustable trigger stops, 3 custom profiles, and adjustable thumbstick tension are all top features of this core controller. And it still has that 40-hour internal battery that is rechargeable via the included USB-C cable for the core controller. And the $60 accessory pack takes the Elite 2 core to the same customization capabilities as the standard Elite 2 controller by adding the carrying/charging case, the 4 paddles on the back, 3 additional thumbsticks with different designs, and an interchangeable D-pad. Alternatively, if you want the paddles but don't want to shell out $60 for the whole kit, there are third-party paddles available on Amazon for about $11 with some decent reviews. But personally, I wanted to get the full kit for this review, so I opted to go with the one from Microsoft. And really, the paddles on here are the main reason why I love the Elite series so much. For me, this is the best implementation of having some buttons on the back of the controller. It can take a little bit of getting used to, but once you get used to it, the buttons are always there right underneath your fingertips and very easy to actuate, but I also don't, accidentally actuate them. So very nice implementation there. And so with those paddles, when everything is working perfectly, the Elite Series 2 really is my absolute favorite Xbox controller that I've ever used. Playing fast-paced FPS games usually, this is just a much more comfortable way of hitting face buttons by using the paddles back here rather than either moving my thumb up, or often I would play with like a claw-style grip so I could still move and then hit those face buttons at the same time. Additionally, if you are messing around with taller thumbsticks for some better accuracy, having that adjustable tension in there is just a great addition to make it feel closer to stock with the higher tension in there. And otherwise, the D-pad is nice and responsive, and the sticks feel pretty good too. I mean, I haven't noticed any stick drift. Once again, I haven't had this controller for a super long time, so we'll see how it lasts over time. But using the gamepad tester on my PC, you can see that, after flicking the sticks, there is just a little bit of movement or a little bit of reading still coming through the thumbsticks. They're not, completely centered back at 0. And I also plugged in the Thrustmaster eSwap Pro. You can check out our review up here in the corner to check that out. And these thumbsticks, when they snap back to center, are much closer to actually being at a true 0 number. So maybe really impressed with this controller and what it can do. So, as exciting as it was for me to hear that, things might be improved with the Elite Series 2, my favorite Xbox controller, is the reliability finally there where it should be for a premium controller? Unfortunately, no, it's not. A Reddit user posted a video showcasing some serious face button registration issues. And I too have had similar issues. Now it's not 100% of the time, it's maybe 5% of my clicks. For me, it seems to happen mainly on A and Y, and if I am pushing kind of on the left or on the right, not directly in the middle, it can have a little bit of an issue. And with the Y, if I'm pushing a little bit up or a little bit down, sometimes it has some issues registering that input. And so while it's not as bad as what that other Reddit user showed, it is still happening to me. And this is in very stark contrast to like my Elite Series 1, which I've never had any issues with. So, really a huge bummer to see that happening on here. So that begs the question, did they really improve anything or change anything with the Elite Series 2 core? I reached out to, a PR representative that works there for Xbox and that I've been in contact with before, asking these questions and haven't really heard back. So hopefully I will hear something back about, what sort of actual changes were made to this controller. But in the meantime, I have to give a big shout out to Gamer Heaven, who just posted a full breakdown of the Elite Series 2 core next to an Elite Series 2. And through their video, you can see that they are basically exactly the same controller on the internals. There's nothing visually different, so it's really impossible to see what kind of changes they've made without actually hearing from Microsoft what they changed. So it's a huge shame that this is still an issue. How long has this controller been out? How many have they had returned? Why is this still a thing? Personally, I would rather pay an extra, $20 or $30 to fix those buttons, to get a better feeling button in there that I know that I'm never going to have an issue with. I was really, really hopeful that the Elite Series 2 core would already do that, considering the language that they were using. But unfortunately, for me, this is actually the first time that I've experienced these issues on an Elite Series controller. So, like I said, I'm hoping to hear back from the PR representative and, hear a little bit more about what has happened to this controller. And this is kind of like a first impressions video. I've spent a few hours with this controller, but not a whole lot of time. So maybe another 6 months we'll do a follow-up after I have some more time with it. We can see how everything's holding up. But it just, seems like there are still some issues that are going to be plaguing Elite Series 2 controllers. And that's not to say that every single one is going to be like this. Just like with the original Elite and the OG Series 2, a lot of people have had great controllers that have never had any issues. But there are some bad apples in there as well. I mean, there are some issues with this controller. It's not perfect. When you compare it to something like the Thrustmaster eSwap Pro, these buttons, they feel different and sound different, but they never miss. Like, you always know that you're pressing it. And the thumbsticks do feel a little bit snappier, and they go closer to zero when you do snap those thumbsticks. But it doesn't have the same ergonomics, it's not wireless, it doesn't have the same paddles on the back. It's just so close. Like, just fix the buttons. Come on, Microsoft. Or at the very least, change how you're talking about this controller on the website so it doesn't give people like me false hope. As the premium controller offering from Xbox, directly, this should not be an issue anymore. This should not be an issue with this controller. And Microsoft does have their 1-year warranty on here, so if over time issues start to show up, you can return it and hopefully get a new one. And like many other users have done, maybe you have to do that over and over, or maybe you get a perfect one and it's fine. So, going forward with other controller reviews, I'll probably still recommend this controller a lot, because if you get a good one, like this one that I've had for years and years and years, it's a great controller. Like I said, it's my favorite way of playing Xbox games. But you're taking a gamble if you do it. All right, well, that's going to be it for this kind of quick look at the Elite Series 2 core. Like I said, check out my full review of the Elite Series 2 because it's basically the exact same thing here, just minus some of the accessories. And make sure you're subscribed because we will do a follow-up video later on once I have some more information and, a lot more hours in use on this controller. So let us know what you think about it down in the comments below, and if you're looking for some other videos to watch, I'll link to our review of let's go with the Thrustmaster controller, as well as our most recent video. And thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. This is Jordan with 9to5 Toys.